For years, the world believed one story, that Dee Dee Blanchard was a monster who made her daughter sick for attention. But the medical records, the timelines, and the science tell a very different story. In this video, we give Dee Dee the voice she was never allowed to use. Through advanced AI reconstruction, you'll hear her own words, her real tone, her real inflection, restored from the records she left behind. This isn't fiction. This is the other side of the Gypsy Rose Blanchard story, told at last in Dee Dee's own voice.
They called me a monster. They said I made Gypsy sick, that I built a life on lies. But those who judged me never sprung to action at 3 a.m. when my infant daughter stopped breathing. They never saw her choke on food or cry when she couldn't swallow. They didn't sleep next to her for years in case she aspirated. I wasn't perfect, but I was a devoted mother, working with a medical system that couldn't fully understand my child and doing my best to give her an amazing life. The world saw a headline, Munchausen by proxy, got excited and blindly accepted it as truth, when in actuality, they were fed a carefully crafted tale that was anything but the truth. I lived a stressful life with a child born with a chromosomal disorder that no one could explain, all while raising her alone and doing my very best. This is my story, not the one told by reporters or lawyers, but the facts from evidence, and told with the help of many insightful women who dug deeper into my case, some of them mothers to medically complicated children. For years, only one voice was heard, Gypsy's. Her victim-filled documentaries. Her words shaped a legend, and her story was told as if it were gospel. But truth isn't born from sympathy. It's built from evidence, from medical records, from the quiet details no one cared to read. The media never looked past what they were told, never asked how a mother with no relatable criminal record, no history of abuse, and doctors by her side could be branded as a fraud. The truth is, I didn't create Gypsy's illness, I fought it, and I paid the ultimate price for loving her too much in a world that only understood too little. Gypsy murdered me, but that wasn't enough. Since then, she has spent every breath trying to destroy my memory in effort to support her false claims of medical, emotional, and physical abuse. Her accusations stem from her real medical issues that have been twisted into a fictional story riddled with abuse. Today, I reveal the truth behind her lies. Gypsy had health issues from birth. I was on high alert all the time with monitor alarms reminding me that I was not allowed to rest, because as soon as I finally relax a little, that apnea alarm would strike me back to the harsh reality. I had a sick baby, and nobody knew why. You don't know what it's like to be jolted awake because your baby's not breathing and watch her turn blue as you frantically try to get her to take a breath, yelling, "Gypsy! Gypsy girl! Come on now! Breathe! Breathe, possum! Breathe! Breathe! Please breathe!" That fear never leaves you. It lives inside you. Being on high alert during Gypsy's infancy had a lasting effect on me. I was always afraid for Gypsy and did what I could to protect her even when she wasn't a baby anymore. I developed post-traumatic stress disorder that I never received any treatment for. I was so focused on Gypsy that I didn't think about myself, though I really wish I had. Gypsy's father, Rod, was right about at least one thing. As she sat in jail, they spoke for the first time in a decade. Imagine that. As they stumbled over their words, he told Gypsy that nobody would ever love her as much as I do. It's not what she wanted to hear coming from him, but it was true. If you've never had a child facing an uncertain future, a child with serious health problems, a life-threatening illness, you may not understand, but the fear of losing your child has a way of intensifying your love. Every day felt like we were walking a tightrope, not knowing if her body would fail her. That fear pushed me to treasure her more than anything, to give her every ounce of love and care I had, because I lived with the thought that tomorrow might not come for her. Gypsy's problems grew into more as time passed. Her appearance was noticeably different with her small head and strabismus. That's an eye turned inwards. She began choking on food, had ear infection after ear infection, terrible reflux, developmental delays, muscle weakness, tiring out easily. It all added up to having a pretty sick little girl. Gypsy's pediatrician couldn't offer much help. He suspected a genetic condition and told me that in some cases, children with genetic diseases don't live a full life. We would need to get opinions from specialists and tests done to hopefully see what was going on with Gypsy, but back then, in 1992, genetic testing wasn't available like it is now, so anything we could learn about her condition would be an educated guess. The pediatrician's words haunted me. Children don't live a full life, that's all I could hear. Children with some genetic conditions don't live a full life. Did Gypsy have one of them? We began our journey with a host of different specialists. We were at the hospital so often for testing that they called us frequent flyers. As we saw each doctor, I collected the information in a notebook to keep everything organized and available. Labs, pamphlets, instructions. I kept it all like puzzle pieces, hoping that eventually someone could put everything together to diagnose and treat Gypsy. This quest for help from the many specialists was later used against me by Gypsy when she wrongly accused me of doctor shopping. It wasn't doctor shopping. It was an effort to save her life. Facing life as a single mother is hard. Facing life as one with a chronically ill child is terrifying, confusing, and incredibly challenging. I had nobody to lean on, no support, nobody to talk with who cared like I did about Gypsy's health and specialist appointments. I had to make all of her medical decisions by myself with no input from Rod, the one person who should have cared as much as I did. On the rare occasion that we'd speak, he would listen about Gypsy, but he always blew off the seriousness and say that he was sure I'd make the right decisions. You know the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I'm sure he would have shown interest if we had been discussing chasing women or partying, though. When Gypsy turned 5, I wanted to give school a try to give her the possibility of friends, socializing, structure, and all the things that come with going to school. I was nervous about her being around other kids, not just because of the colds and flus that spread like wildfire in classrooms, though those were concerns, but because she had a history of being cruel to other children and she was sneaky about it. I had seen Gypsy be cruel to other little girls when we tried pageants for a short period of time. She'd pull their hair, hit, and make horrible threats to them when she thought nobody was looking. In school, Gypsy wasn't invited to play dates or birthday parties, and even though she was a head shorter than the rest of the students, she was the class bully. The problem child who nobody liked, the spoiled brat. I don't think her teacher even liked her. It was clear that Gypsy had behavioral problems, but I made excuses for her bad behaviors. She had been through a lot medically. She was just acting out temporarily. At least, that's what I thought. We pressed on for a couple of years as I kept a close watch until it became obvious to me that Gypsy's behavior wasn't improving and the kids wanted nothing to do with her. I didn't want to add to Gypsy's problems by sending her to a school where none of the kids liked her and she was missing a lot of class because of appointments, so I decided to homeschool her. Though I believe she would have benefited from some peer pressure to behave, to fit in, I could see where things were going in her school career, one problem after another, and no resolution in sight. The unfortunate result of pulling Gypsy from school is that it fed her feelings of entitlement. She believed she was better than the other kids, special, unique, a class above the rest. As I begin to address some of the medical accusations against me, I want to point out something that seemingly everyone has forgotten. All medical and dental procedures must be proven necessary by laboratory testing, X-rays, or other diagnostic tests or procedures if insurance is to cover the cost. Gypsy had state health insurance which demands proof of necessity for all medical care, and then some. To say that I convinced any physician to perform any kind of procedure or surgery on Gypsy is not only wrong, but impossible. All of Gypsy's procedures, which were only a few, were deemed necessary not only by her physicians, but also the physicians who approved the medical insurance claims. To put it simply, it means that doctors who never even met me looked at Gypsy's test results and said that she needed the procedure for her survival and well-being. Gypsy had some challenging behaviors as a little girl, and one stands out for a reason. She absolutely refused to wean off of a baby bottle. I didn't push her very much to get off of it when she was a toddler because she was having problems with drinking fluids from a cup. She would choke and vomit. The bottle slowed the flow of fluid significantly, and Gypsy could control it, allowing her to drink safely. It wasn't so much an issue as a toddler. Gypsy found comfort from it. I saw it as an easy answer to her drinking and choking problems. I never imagined that she'd still use it by school age. My friend even joked about how no kid ever graduated high school with a bottle, telling me not to worry. Turned out the joke was on me. Gypsy's bottle use continued, and she became pickier about what she would and wouldn't eat or drink. She had developed what's called an oral aversion. Oral aversion is when a child's mouth becomes a no-go zone, so eating and drinking anything other than what is considered safe feels scary or uncomfortable instead of natural and enjoyable. It's typical in kids who have had reflux and negative experiences involving the mouth, like Gypsy did with choking on food and liquids. Like other kids with oral aversion, Gypsy had her safe foods too. Strawberry Pedialyte and mashed potatoes were the tops of the short list. People think it's neglect, but when a child has oral aversion, every attempt feels like a battle you're destined to lose. I tried my best, but her body and her fears fought me at every turn. I certainly couldn't withhold her fluids, and I couldn't force her to brush her teeth. As the bottle use continued, so did the dental issues. I was stuck between a rock and a hard place when it came to Gypsy's oral health. Her oral aversion wasn't limited to food and drink. It was anything that was to involve her mouth. Brushing her teeth was next to impossible. She'd clamp her jaws tight, kick and scream, or gag so badly I'd have to stop. I knew her teeth needed care, but forcing it only made her more afraid. Her teeth flared outwards from the excessive sucking on a nipple that was far too small for her. It was designed for infants. As she matured, she still wouldn't listen to me or her dentist at Mercy Hospital, who warned her of tooth loss from poor oral hygiene. Gypsy's oral aversion was stronger than all of us. Eventually, the decay became so severe from lack of oral care and Gypsy's already weak enamel that some of her front teeth had to be extracted and stainless steel caps used for her molars. Gypsy made two unrelated claims about this. 1, I coerced her dentist to yank her healthy teeth out, and 2, I forced her to take medication that caused tooth loss. Both are totally false. The truth is that Gypsy's genetic defect causes enamel hypoplasia, that's weak enamel, leaving her teeth more susceptible to decay than normal teeth. She sucked on a baby bottle relentlessly for years, bathing her teeth in sugary Pedialyte. She had bottle rot. So Gypsy lied once again to make me look cruel, to fit her fictional story of Munchausen by proxy. Gypsy's oral aversion was one of the hardest battles I ever faced as a mother. It wasn't stubbornness, and it wasn't something I could just discipline away. She had dysphagia, a real swallowing disorder, and hypotonia, which meant her muscles were weak all over, even in her throat. Every movement took more effort than it should have. Everything connected back to one problem, energy. Because eating was so difficult, she wasn't getting enough calories to fuel her body. It could take her an hour just to swallow a scoop of mashed potatoes. She'd tire out halfway through a meal because every swallow felt like climbing a hill. Her low muscle tone made it worse. The harder she worked to chew and swallow, the more calories she burned, and the weaker she became. Her doctor explained it clearly. She's burning energy faster than she can take it in. So we had to conserve what she had. That's why the wheelchair came into the picture. Not because she couldn't walk, but because walking drained her. It was about survival, not show. People have said I forced Gypsy to use a wheelchair. It's simply not true. What those close to us didn't understand was why things looked that way. And rather than ask me, they made wild assumptions that spiraled into an attack of my character. All I was trying to do was what was in Gypsy's best interest, what her physicians instructed me to do. When people from our past, people from our Louisiana days, say they know Gypsy could walk, they're right. She could. But what they didn't know, first of all, was there was a physician's order for the wheelchair, and then what came after Gypsy overly exerted herself. The trembling legs, the exhaustion, the tears, and the hunger that couldn't be satisfied. Using the wheelchair was a way to save her strength so she could still do the things she loved. Her brownies meetings, her crafts, her little performances. I'd wheel her from the car to the auditorium, she'd hop out to join the other girls, and when it was time to go home, she'd get back in. That's what energy conservation looks like when your body works twice as hard for half as much. So yes, Gypsy could walk, and that's how rumors get started. People making assumptions and speaking as if their opinions are facts. If there was any question about Gypsy's wheelchair, they should have asked me, not guess. I did what her doctors told me to do: protect her strength, conserve her energy, and keep her safe. Wheelchairs aren't just for people who can't move, they're for people who need help making it through the day. And that was my little girl. And for the record, Gypsy has claimed that she doesn't know why she was put in a wheelchair. Well, there's your answer. It was a wheelchair or a stroller. And since I didn't want to infantilize Gypsy, it was the wheelchair. When I'd leave her with relatives or she was playing with her cousins, Gypsy would sometimes climb out of the chair to play like the other kids. She wanted to be included without her chair, to feel normal for a little while. She knew she wasn't supposed to get out of her wheelchair without me there to supervise her. There were concerns about Gypsy's heart growing tired with overexertion because of her hypotonia, which affected all of her muscles, including her heart. Doctors had warned us both that it could be dangerous to play unsupervised. But Gypsy was a child, and like any child disobeying her mother, she thought she could get away with it. She'd play when I wasn't there, and when she saw me coming home, she'd drop to the ground or climb back into that chair, pretending she hadn't moved. My family saw those moments and decided it meant I'd been lying all along. They didn't see the weakness that came after, the trembling, the exhaustion, the pale face that followed a few minutes of fun. They didn't sit up with her through the choking fits, the therapies, or the endless feeding issues. They didn't hear the doctors talk about energy conservation and heart strain. The wheelchair wasn't about control or sympathy. It was about keeping Gypsy alive and comfortable in a body that simply couldn't keep up. My family has claimed they didn't see why she was put in a wheelchair when she would get up and walk when I wasn't around. The answer is, I didn't trust them at all to watch Gypsy closely enough to know when to rein her in. I wasn't going to risk Gypsy having a cardiac event while I was away, just because they're the kind who have to see something to believe it. They hadn't seen Gyp having any heart trouble, so it must not exist, and I must have been lying. Right? Wrong. I always told Gypsy to stay in her wheelchair until I got back. She was disobeying me when she got out to play. That's why she dropped to the floor or scrambled to get back into her chair when I pulled up. She knew that she was to wait for me before going out and playing. She didn't want to get in trouble, and that's their answer. I'll admit it, I took government aid I shouldn't have. I filled out those papers knowing full well how they'd read, but what choice did I have? Rod wasn't paying his child support, and every month I was drowning a little more. The doctors had written unspecified chromosomal disorder in her chart, something nobody could see, something no one at Social Security or Medicaid understood. Invisible conditions don't open doors, wheelchairs do. In Louisiana, a diagnosis like that wouldn't qualify for anything meaningful, but a visible disability would. When they saw a child who couldn't walk, the state would listen. That wheelchair made Gypsy eligible for programs like the Louisiana Medicaid waiver, the kind that pays a family member to stay home and provide care. It meant I could be there around the clock, keep her safe, keep her from hurting herself or others. I couldn't work outside the home, not with the way she acted, not with those early signs of conduct disorder showing up so young. Leaving her unattended wasn't an option. It wasn't safe. So yes, I leaned into the chair. I justified it to myself every day, telling myself it wasn't really a lie. Not completely. She did need it, just not all the time. Her muscles were weak, her energy low. She'd stumble, get dizzy, her legs would tremble. I told myself I was just helping the world see what the doctors couldn't explain, that my child was sick, just not in a way you could measure with a test. I know what people will say, that I crossed a line, and I did. But I did it to survive, to make sure my little girl had what she needed when no one else was stepping up. The system doesn't reward honesty, it rewards proof. And that wheelchair became our proof. Proof of everything that couldn't be seen. People always looked at the wheelchair like it was the focus of Gypsy's health issues. But what they never saw was the real struggle happening inside her body that controlled what happened on the outside. Gypsy's problems weren't just with walking, they were with eating. By the time she was 7, the doctors diagnosed her with failure to thrive. She simply couldn't take in enough calories to grow. Gypsy has accused me of placing her feeding tube, which is almost comical because it's just so absurd. A lot happened to try and prevent the need for a feeding tube. Funny how she's failed to ever mention this. People talk like that. Feeding tube was my idea. Like I just walked in and ordered it off a menu. I'd like one size 12 French 1.0 centimeter gastrostomy tube, please, from the kids menu. And, does it come with a toy? It just doesn't work like that. We spent 2 years trying to avoid one. From the time Gypsy was 7, we were in feeding therapy, week after week. The feeding team said she had oral aversion and dysphagia, trouble swallowing safely. They tried everything. Tiny tastes on a spoon, blowing bubbles to strengthen her mouth, even food play to make her less afraid because Gypsy was afraid to eat. But every attempt ended the same. She'd gag, choke, eyes watering, face red. They said it was reflux and poor muscle coordination. Occupational therapy worked on posture and calm breathing. Speech therapy tried texture drills. Nothing helped. Even when she wanted to eat, her body fought her. We tried thickeners, different textures, all of it. She choked on every consistency. At night, her saliva and reflux pooled in her throat. She'd cough and gasp in her sleep. I slept next to Gypsy instead of a husband to listen for that sound, to be there for Gypsy, to help her breathe again. I was watching Gypsy waste away. When she turned 9, after 2 years of trying to prevent the need of a feeding tube and Gypsy weighing just 36 pounds, the doctor said there was no other option. They placed the G-tube, which is short for gastrostomy tube. They also performed I'll try to pronounce it, fundoplication. At the same time, it's a simple procedure with a not simple name to prevent reflux. Part of the stomach is used like a purse string to keep stomach contents from bubbling up to the esophagus. Over the next few months, Gypsy gained over 20 pounds and her reflux was cured. It was a success. It is commonly said that I made Gypsy keep her head shaved, but what critics don't understand is how much she played into it. A normal little girl might cry over losing her hair, beg to grow it out, hide from the stares. Not Gypsy. She thrived on it. She knew that with a bald head she could pull people in, the sympathy, the pity, the gifts, and she used it. And that right there, that's not innocence, that's manipulation. I see it clearer now. Those are the behaviors of a child with conduct problems. She lied without blinking, hurt others with no guilt, and carried herself like the rules didn't apply to her. The shaved head wasn't a burden, it was her tool. When her hair would start coming back, she'd scratch at it, yank at it, even hand me the clippers. That wasn't me forcing her. That was her choosing the role because she liked the power it gave her. She could sit in her chair, tilt her head just so, and watch people melt. She learned young that looking weak gave her strength. It was part of the show for sympathy. And you know what else? Gypsy loved wigs. She wanted to be a different princess whenever she felt like it. One day Cinderella, the next day Drusilla, sometimes Ariel. She even came up with her own princesses. Candy, Demona, Kitty, Ruby, and some others. She was imaginative with her stories about them in the land of BDSM. I don't remember what that stands for, though. The wigs let her step into any fairy tale she dreamed up, and she couldn't do that with her natural hair, or me, in the way. By the time Gypsy reached puberty, everything changed. The needy little girl I once knew was gone, replaced by someone cold, calculating, and unpredictable. What began as conduct disorder, lying, manipulation, cruelty without guilt, was quickly transitioning into something darker, antisocial personality disorder. The hormones hit her like a tidal wave. She started talking to strangers online, men twice her age, sometimes older. She'd flirt, send photos, plan secret meetings. I caught her more than once. When I told her no, it wasn't just a rule, it was survival. These men didn't care who she was. They cared that she looked young and broken. I was terrified she'd end up hurt, or worse. I had good reason to be scared. Gypsy had been running off with men and had already gotten the gift that keeps on giving, and it wasn't a diamond ring. But these men gave her something new, the illusion of freedom. The first time she couldn't control me anymore, she decided she'd have to remove me altogether. To Gypsy, my no wasn't about safety, it was about domination. In her mind, I was standing between her and the one thing she thought would make her whole. Sex, romance, independence. That's what conduct disorder becomes when it matures into antisocial personality disorder. Boundaries become threats, and people become obstacles. When I told Gypsy no, I didn't realize how dangerous that word had become. For most daughters, no means disappointment. For Gypsy, it meant war. By the time she reached her late teens, everything in her mind revolved around men. The attention, the fantasy, the thrill of being desired. I was an obstacle, and she tried to remove me by shooting me 10 times with what she believed was a real gun. Fortunately for me, it was a BB gun. So Gypsy wouldn't face charges. I covered for her. I lied to the authorities and blamed a fictitious mugger in a Walmart parking lot. When I said no, she felt cornered. And when someone like Gypsy feels trapped, they don't run. They destroy whatever stands in their way. That's why my no wasn't just rejection. To her, it was a death sentence, and she made sure it wasn't hers. And I'd always seen my baby as fragile, but in that moment, I saw rage in her eyes. It wasn't pain or confusion, it was control, and that's when my trust in her was gone. Rod's absence created that insatiable drive for men in Gypsy. She didn't want romance, she wanted approval. Every creepy pedophile who called her baby girl filled the space he left behind. While I slept, she'd sneak out to meet them, thinking if she pleased them, she mattered. It terrified me when I found out, but by then she was addicted to the sex that she believed validated her. Rod was only 17 when Gypsy was born, and I forgave a lot because of that. Just for the record, he had lied to me about his age. I was 24. I should have been babysitting him instead of baby making with him, but I didn't know until it was too late. Seems like there's a dominant lying gene in the family. While I was pregnant, he got another girl pregnant. Nicolette was born 6 months after Gypsy, and he left both of them behind. That kind of rejection changes a child. It feeds the worst parts of them. The lying, the manipulation, the need for control. That's what conduct disorder does. It twists pain into power. And Gypsy learned early that the fastest way to feel important was to lie, to provoke, to make people react. She sent Rod an inappropriate photo of herself, and she got the same response she always got when she pulled a stunt for people's reactions, me covering for her. I always did. Even after he married Christy and had Dylan and Mia, he still kept his distance. He owed over $30,000 in child support, but I never used that against him. I opened my home to all of them when they were in the path of a hurricane, kept things friendly. But it didn't help Gypsy's relationship with him or them. He could have seen Gypsy anytime, he just didn't. They visited once in a while. Not often, but Gypsy was never invited to stay overnight at their house. Maybe they were afraid of her medical needs, didn't want to deal with the feeding tube or the diapers, or maybe deep down, I was the one who was afraid. Afraid she'd lash out, hurt Dylan, or especially little Mia. Gypsy saw their family from the outside, and it broke her. She was jealous, angry, desperate for the love her father gave everyone but her. That pain never went away. It just grew darker until there was nothing left I could do to stop what came next. Rod's distance didn't just leave her lonely, it made her dangerous. She wanted to be seen, to be wanted, to have someone finally say she mattered. And when he gave that love to other children instead, she turned her hurt into rage. Looking back, I can see how much of Gypsy's sickness wasn't just in her body. It was in her mind, fueled by her heart. Rod's absence carved out a hole that nothing could fill. From the time she was little, she kept waiting for him to show up, to choose her, to love her the way fathers are supposed to love their daughters. But every birthday that passed, every phone call that ended too soon, only reminded her that she wasn't part of his real family. She wasn't a priority in his life. In the end, it wasn't doctors or medicine or even me that shaped what she became. It was that empty place where her father should have been and her conduct disorder brewed. That's where all of this started, and where it never really ended. As Gypsy sat in prison for my murder, Rod told her if I had just let her date, this wouldn't have happened. Maybe, just maybe, if he had been around more, showed any interest in Gypsy, this wouldn't have happened. Conduct disorder gives a child the ability to use pity as power. Gypsy learned that early. If I said no, she'd cry. If I held firm, she'd threaten to run away or hurt herself. Every day felt like walking on glass. People think I built the lie around her wheelchair, but they don't see what I was living with behind closed doors. The truth is, she built the lie around me. I was a prisoner of Gypsy's lies and threats, all while I did my best to give her everything she wanted. I was too afraid not to. People say I controlled Gypsy, but the truth is, she controlled me. Living with a child who has conduct disorder isn't like raising a normal child. It's like living with a storm that learns your every weakness. She lied easily, without guilt. She could cry on command, twist any story, and make strangers believe she was the sweetest, most helpless girl in the world. And I believed her too, because I wanted to. To Gypsy, I was Mother Gothel. Her whole world was a polarizing one of Disney mixed with pornography, fairy tales, songs. But her happy endings were different than Disney's versions. Tangled was her favorite. She saw herself as the princess, of course. Then there was Mother Gothel, the manipulative and vain antagonist, who kidnaps Rapunzel to use her magical hair to stay young. The loving, overprotective mother who kept Rapunzel locked away, pretending it was for her own good. Gypsy identified with Rapunzel. No one ever saw why I tried so hard to protect her. Gypsy wasn't a normal child. That 1Q21.1 micro-deletion that we discovered in 2011 explained everything. Her weak muscles, her crossed eyes, her feeding problems, her obsessions, the hypersexuality, the outbursts. Unfortunately, knowing the cause of all of Gypsy's issues didn't change anything. The micro-deletion, that 1Q21.1 deletion they found in 2011, explained so much of what I couldn't. It made her body weak, but her impulses strong. It took away her sense of caution, her ability to weigh right and wrong the way other kids do. It wasn't that she didn't know the difference, it was that her emotions overpowered her logic every time. That tiny deletion made her fragile, yet impulsive. It heightened her sexual drive, a cruel twist for a child trapped in a body that was still so medically complex. The hypersexuality, the lying, the manipulations, they weren't simple rebellion. They were the blossoming of conduct disorder, growing darker until it became full antisocial personality disorder. I should have focused more on her mental health, but by then I was so tired. My diabetes, the pain, my weight, it all wore me down. I'd poured every ounce of myself into Gypsy's life, and there was nothing left for my own. My house fell into chaos. The curtains stayed closed so no one could see the clutter. I was depressed and alone, trying to just make it through each day, with a daughter who was dangerously self-destructive and determined to destroy me. I'd stopped caring how I looked, the moo-moo frocks, the old lady helmet hair. I was burned out, I was depressed, but even so I was still her mother, still the no, still the obstacle between her and the men she wanted. In the end, I was her Gothel, the mother who loved too hard, protected too much, and became the enemy because I stood in the way. And Gypsy, doing what those with antisocial personality do, found a way to remove the obstacle. She manipulated a mentally disabled boy into getting involved with my murder, to take the fall for her crime. I once told Gypsy in front of a room full of people that I was born to be her mama, and I meant it with every piece of my heart.
Thank you, Miss Dee Dee, and always said, you're the reason I was born to be your mama.
She needed far more than I was ever capable of giving. Sometimes, love just isn't enough. A lifetime of indulgence taught her that she was entitled to do as she pleased, even if it meant resorting to murder to get what she wanted. I take responsibility for that, for spoiling her, for mistaking love for leniency and comfort for care. I should have been firmer. I should have taught her limits. I should have sought psychiatric help when she was still a child, before the behaviors hardened into something darker. Instead, I created a child who never learned the word enough. And for that, I am truly sorry. Sorry for who I unleashed on the world. As you can probably see, Gypsy's greatest struggles weren't medical as she entered adulthood. They were severe psychiatric issues. She had outgrown a lot of the health problems, and some we had taken care of, like her reflux surgery and G-tube. She evolved into a dangerous young woman. I knew she could be violent, but I had no idea she could be a killer. Gypsy will never be free from who she is. No matter where she goes, there she is. She can't escape herself. Like any typical criminal, she tries to disguise herself with wigs and costumes, desperate attempts to change her identity, change who she is. Everyone can still see the real her, though, much to her frustration. So she keeps trying with different, more expensive wigs and costumes. She still hasn't grasped the concept that change comes from within, and who she is will never fit who she wants to be. And that's her real sentence. No matter where she goes, she can never escape who she is, and she'll never be satisfied with who she is. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, the girl who murdered her mom, it's who she is, for life.
Yeah, in the spotlight for all to see. Bold-faced lies you pointed at me. Not a tear for what you caused, just a demon spitting fire from the cross. You took a broken man and cast him your slave, handed him your weapon of deceit, then blamed him. Eyes on you is what you crave. I believe there are angels above us. I sent one to you from me. You slashed her wings right off her back and wore them proud for all to see. A demon with stolen wings can't fool the pure of heart. They know who you are, they've known from the start. You took my life, took a deal and a your lies, you're laughing now, but the truth is showing, it's in their eyes. Stolen wings, stolen rings, the echo of your conscience sings. Play the victim, deal your cards, your poker face won't hide the scars. The lies you told are burning fast, and only thieves love you last. A murder of crows at your feet, pecking your crumbs hand to beak, loving you for all your lying. They don't care as long as you're buying. In the spotlight, you took my life and took a bow. You took my words, there's no defense now. Everything you hold dear, stolen off my back, stolen off my back. Stolen off my back.